One of my favorite things I've learned studying theology and the resurrection of Christ is something that I think a lot of people completely overlook. Mary Magdalene was one of the first people to ever discover that Jesus' tomb was empty, and according to Matthew and John, she actually encountered the risen Jesus. Just think about that for a second. If you were inventing a story in the first century to convince people that your Messiah had risen from the dead, why would you make a woman your first witness? At that time, women generally did not have the same social or legal standing as men, and their testimony could be treated as way less authoritative. And yet, gospel writers did not hide this detail. They put it right in the story. Matthew says, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to the tomb and encountered the risen Christ. Mark has Mary Magdalene at the tomb. Luke names Mary Magdalene among the women who discover the empty tomb. And John goes even further. Mary Magdalene encounters Jesus personally and then goes and tells the disciples, I have seen the Lord. And that's John 20:18. And here's where it gets really interesting. All four Gospels independently preserve women as the first witnesses to the empty tomb, and Mary Magdalene is named in all four. So if somebody says, well, the disciples just made this whole thing up, you have to explain why the earliest Christian testimony would deliberately include a detail that in the culture of the time could actually make their story way less persuasive. That's what's called the criterion of embarrassment. If you're fabricating a story to make yourself look credible, you normally don't manufacture a socially inconvenient first witness. You would make Peter the first witness, or make John the first witness. Yet, Christianity preserves Mary Magdalene. And there's another detail I absolutely love. When the women tell the disciples what happened, Luke 24:11 says their words seemed like nonsense to them and they did not believe them. So the story doesn't even portray the women as immediately being believed. It portrays them as delivering the message and the male disciples initially rejecting it. And then Peter runs to the tomb to investigate. That's not exactly how you would write a propaganda story where everyone is immediately convinced. And this is why I think the resurrection deserves to be taken seriously as a historical claim. And you can debate whether the resurrection actually did happen. You can debate the theology. But you absolutely cannot honestly say the early Christians simply constructed the most convenient possible story, because they were trying to manufacture the most persuasive resurrection account imaginable in their historical context. Mary Magdalene probably isn't the person you'd put at the center of it. And yet that's exactly who the tradition preserves.